September 18th, 2021. The water of the Tument River is black and just above freezing. A figure moves against the current, not toward freedom, but directly toward the world's most guarded border. 3 years earlier, he crawled onto this bank in China, half dead from a year-long journey through mountains and jungles. He made it to safety in Seoul. He was finally free. Now he's going back in. If he's caught, the punishment won't end with him. His entire bloodline will be erased from the earth. Over 30,000 people have fled North Korea. Not one has ever willingly returned, until now. And he has exactly 48 hours before the entire military knows someone just reversed the river of no return. What could force a free man to swim back into a prison nation? And what did he discover waiting for him on the other side? June 2015. Park Jun-ho is 19 when he first crosses the Tument River. He's heading east, away from the village where he watched his uncle vanish for a whispered joke, where famine is a season, and where his sister died from a fever that medicine could have cured. Ahead lies a terrifying 12-month odyssey through foreign lands, hiding in train cars, foraging in forests, and trusting strangers who could sell him for a reward. He survives on a single vow spoken to his mother in the dark before he left: "I will return for you, wait for me." He wasn't saving for a car or an apartment. He was saving for a human life. 3 years, that was the timeline he set. In Seoul, Park becomes a machine. By day, a dishwasher in a restaurant, his skin pruning in soapy water for 10-hour shifts. By night, a cleaner in office towers, mopping floors under fluorescent lights until dawn. His coworkers see his relentless pace and assume he's driven by ambition. He never tells them the truth. Everyone he earns is converted, stacked, and hidden. The price to smuggle a single person out of North Korea is a small fortune, over $20,000. It's the cost of bribes, of guides, of silence. After 36 months of this double life, he finally has the amount. He contacts a smuggler with a solid reputation in the defector community, pays the full fee up front, and waits. The call that comes is not the one he prayed for. His mother's voice is a frayed wire of panic. The extraction failed. A checkpoint was moved, a signal was missed, fear froze her in place. By the time she could move, the opportunity was gone. The smuggler, he disappeared with every cent. $20,000 and 3 years of his life gone in a single failed moment. Park doesn't rage or despair. He arrives at a cold, clear conclusion. If you want something done, you must do it yourself. The transformation is methodical. The polite dishwasher vanishes, replaced by a shadow. He studies declassified maps and refugee testimonies, piecing together a mosaic of patrol routes and blind spots on his apartment wall. He runs at night with a sand-filled backpack, building endurance. He practices becoming a statue, lying motionless for hours, controlling his breath until he makes no sound. He gathers his tools slowly: dark, non-reflective clothing, a sealed bag for gear, high-energy food, a knife not for attack but as a last resort. In early 2021, he boards a flight to China. From there, he travels to a forgotten town along the river. He observes for 2 nights, tracking the patterns of the border guards with meticulous notes. On the 3rd night, under a moonless sky, he shaves his head, steps into the icy water, and begins to swim toward the homeland he swore he'd never see again. But the country he fled is not the country he's re-entering. Security has been tightened. Shoot-on-sight orders are now standard for infiltrators. The river is wider than he remembered, the cold a physical assault. Numbness sets in, threatening to lock his muscles. He finally drags himself onto the northern bank into a drainage ditch. A searchlight sweeps overhead. He has minutes before the next patrol. Crawling through brush, he's within sight of a forest ravine, his planned route inland, when a twig snaps under his boot. The sound is catastrophic in the silence. A voice calls out from the darkness. "Identify yourself." A flashlight beam cuts through the trees, searching. Park melts against a tree trunk, hand on his knife. The beam hovers near the broken twig. The guard's rifle raises. In that split second, Park moves. It's not a fight of skill, but of survival, a blurred struggle in the dark. A choked gasp, a scuffle, and the guard goes still. Park checks for a pulse. Alive. He disposes of the rifle and plunges into the ravine as alarm whistles begin to shriek behind him. The border is breached, but the hunt has now officially begun. For over a week, he is a ghost moving through the landscape of his past. He travels only in the dead hours, sleeps in ruins, sustains himself on whatever he can forage. The nation is a gallery of new propaganda, and his own speech now carries the accent of the South, a death sentence if he speaks. Finally, on the 10th night, he reaches his mother's village. The sight of her home, more dilapidated than he remembers, cracks his resolve. A coded knock, the door opens a sliver. The reunion is wordless, a storm of silent tears and crushing embraces that lasts less than 2 minutes before fear takes over. "They will kill us both," she whispers, her voice trembling. He lays out his new plan, a different escape route, contacts waiting in China, a window in 4 days. He just needs her to hide him until then. Park becomes a secret in the walls of his childhood home. When visitors come, he squeezes into a hide so tight he cannot straighten his legs. He holds position for hours, muscles screaming. At night, he ventures to a hill to make whispered satellite calls, but his network is crumbling. News of a border incident has spread. No one believes a defector would return. They think it's a state security trap. The extraction window begins to close. Then, the sound of fate, unmarked vehicles rolling quietly into the village after midnight. State security. They are conducting a house-to-house search. His mother barely has time to hiss "hide" before the door is kicked in. Park slips into the wall cavity as boots storm the room. He watches through a crack as officers ransack the home. A flashlight beam lands on his panel. An officer knocks. The hollow sound echoes. Park's hand finds his knife. His mother speaks, her voice astonishingly steady. "Rats, it's infested with rats in there." The officer scowls, turns away, and orders his team to move on. The reprieve lasts only as long as the trucks are in earshot. They both know the hunters will be back, and next time they will tear the walls down. Some promises are too fragile for words. At 3 a.m., Park makes the only choice left. Staying means death for both. Leaving might give her a chance. The state wants the ghost who crossed the river, not an old woman. They embrace one final time, a lifetime of loss communicated in a single hold. "I will find you again," he whispers. She touches his cheek, her silence more eloquent than any goodbye. He slips into the pre-dawn gloom. 2 days later, from a ridge, he sees the border zone is now a fortress of lights and dogs. His way back is sealed. But then, a storm, a sudden, torrential downpour. The floodlights flicker and die, a lightning-induced blackout, maybe 30 seconds of darkness. It's his only chance. He sprints from cover, hits the raging water, and swims with every atom of strength left. The current tries to drag him under. A light flares back to life, sweeping the river behind him. He dives, lets the water carry him, surfaces gasping on the far side. He is back in China, he is free, and he is utterly, completely alone. Weeks later, upon landing in Seoul, he is met not with praise, but with handcuffs. South Korean law is unambiguous. Unauthorized travel to the north is a crime, punishable by prison. The man who evaded an entire dictatorship is now a criminal in his sanctuary. The interrogations are long, shadowed by suspicion of espionage. At his trial, the judge acknowledges the extraordinary circumstances but must uphold the law. Park is sentenced to 8 months in prison. The irony is a bitter pill. He sits in a clean cell with regular meals, tormented by the silence, no news of his mother's fate. 4 months into his sentence, a guard calls him to the office. There's a phone call. A broker's voice, frantic and excited. His mother is out. She used the contacts, followed the backup routes he established. She's in a third country, processing her papers for South Korea. Then her voice comes through the line, weak and real. "Son, I'm here." On a bright morning, Park Jun-ho walks out of the prison gates. His mother is there, small and wrapped in a donated coat. They meet in the middle of the sidewalk, and the world shrinks to that single, silent embrace. The nightmares haven't stopped. They both still jump at sudden noises. But every morning, they now share a simple, miraculous thing, a safe breakfast in a free city together. He swam the river twice. He defied 2 nations. He lost everything he owned. And he kept the only promise that ever mattered. If you want to see the harrowing story of another escape, one that began with a single secret note, watch this next. But first, if this story of impossible loyalty resonated with you, please like this video and follow the LUMORA files for more real tales of the human spirit pushed to its absolute limit.